Hi LinkedIn friends, I'm Debbie Merajian. How are you all doing? So I'm on day 19 of my 45-day video challenge, and it's a beautiful day out here in Southern California, but warm, but it is sunny. And I was telling Coach Terry, I said, I'm just kind of swimming through this process. Everybody's being so nice and tuning in and supportive. So thank you so much. And you know what? I'm probably going to miss it like you don't know as soon as it's over. That's just kind of the way it works. And so I'm working on more topics, and I've decided that, the people who are asking me the questions have by themselves a vast amount of knowledge, and I would love to have them with me for a video prez that we could do together. And next on deck, I pray, is the beautiful Aya Vekre. And then I'm going to reach out to Safe and Mega and hopefully Victor and Prajesh and Hateen and see if any of you all would be interested in collaborating on a video, hopefully Hema. And some of the wonderful people here, if I get halfway decent enough, like Usama and Ahmed, maybe I could do a podcast and get brave enough to ask Dr. Brent Jackson and Dr. Sunil Dand and Dr. Amal and some of the other wonderful doctors, Dr. Chetty, to join me for that segment. And so here goes. I've received a lot of anatomy and physiology questions, and hey, I have a background in nursing, but these systems are just so complex and miraculous, it would take me days to explain them. But, a couple people asked just to give a brief overview. So I'm going to do the best I can with the way that I have been taught, and certainly not setting out to misguide anybody. I did take a quick peek to review before making this video. So I was asked about the nervous system, the cardiovascular system, the endocrine system, and so today I want to go with endo. I remember when I was in school, I was just fascinated with the endocrine system. It is our messenger system throughout the body, and what it does is it releases hormones, and those hormones message one another in certain instances, and they keep our body regulated and just functioning very, very well. So there's a couple of different models. Some people consider, certain glands to be within the endocrine system, while others do not, but I'll give them an honorable mention. So let's go ahead and start with the master gland, the star of the show, pituitary gland. The pituitary gland lies in the brain, and at the base, I believe, between the ears, kind of behind the nose. And it has two lobes. That's the anterior and the posterior. And the anterior, as I remember, it kind of kickstarts all of the messenger. It's the control center to help out all of the other glands, or many of the other glands. And then the posterior portion of that gland is the... it regulates our sodium levels, and it's a wonderful, miraculous, and how much water we retain. So it's really important for that. Okay, so let me move on here before I start talking too long. Also in the brain is the pineal gland, and this is responsible for sleep. And it's, what we call circadian levels. It helps to regulate that. And it secretes a hormone called melatonin. And if there's any disruption in the way of sleep, regarding light, even if it's like a small light, that can sort of disrupt the amount and the flow of your sleep cycles. And I have made a video about that in the past. And then the honorable mention, some of, my professors and professionals within the industry say that the hypothalamus is definitely part of the endocrine system, where others say, no, let's put it over into the nervous system or other. So I'm going to mention the hypothalamus because it's helpful in regulating our breathing and what we call automatic or the autonomic nervous system, automatic, movements that we do. Just like, that breath that keeps us breathing all night long. It probably, works collaboratively with the part of the brain there that they call the medulla oblongata, the pons, and that's the brain stem. And so moving downward, we're going to, right at the neck here is the thyroid gland. Very wonderful gland, and it regulates our metabolism. And it looks like a little bow tie, and it's fabulous at what it does. And it releases a hormone called thyroxine. And if there's any dysregulation with the thyroid gland, it can be seen in people who have hyperthyroidism, also known as Graves' disease. You might see like a bulging out of someone's eyes, and it really hypes up the metabolism. It can cause hypothyroidism, where you have a slower metabolism, and those folks usually need to take a medication to help keep up the metabolism at a certain level, something called Synthroid they take. Also, there is an autoimmune disease that can impact and affect the thyroid gland negatively, and that's Hashimoto's disease. And it is an autoimmune disease where the immune system just starts attacking the thyroid gland. On the back of the thyroid gland, that little bow tie, you have some like little nodules, which are actually glands known as the parathyroid glands. And they secrete a hormone called parathormone. And if there's any disruption in this series of glands there in the back, what happens is it regulates calcium and phosphorus. And, sometimes people will get this and they have to have them removed. And so, or surgery on them. And then moving downward to the chest more is the thymus gland. And I always learned that the thymus gland was instrumental as an extra layer of immunity, and that it sort of shrivels up around puberty. I've heard some people say that it stays with us, some say nah. So it's, it's there for a reason for that amount of time. And then we're moving downward to on top of the kidneys sits the adrenal glands. And there's two parts of the adrenal glands. There is the medulla, which is the inside. There's the cortex, which is the outside. And the medulla regulates hormones like norepinephrine and epinephrine that, kind of kickstarts that fight or flight. And the outer shell, the cortex, gosh, it has so many. It's kind of in a bunch called corticosteroids. And, cortisol is one that you hear a lot of out there. I think it's got DHEA and, just different hormones. And what you see in folks that have this, actually, I was in school with a lady who had Cushing's syndrome, and she was fine. I loved her. She was probably my age when she was attending school, and just smartest lady ever. And what it is they have like this moon face. It's kind of a round face, and it's very recognizable. But she took medicines, and for her case, she functioned well. And just going back into that. Okay, so we're going to move down, let me see, and then we're down to the ovaries in women, which are responsible for secreting progesterone and estrogen and for reproduction purposes. And I won't go too much into depth with that. And then the testes in males, which is responsible for secreting testosterone. There are many other hormones going on, luteinizing hormones in the ladies and stuff like that, but I'm just going to kind of stop there where I feel comfortable. And, okay, and I think I covered all of them. And, oh no, my goodness, the pancreas. Right behind the stomach lies the pancreas. The pancreas is, you can't live without it. It is responsible for secreting glucagon, which comes from the alpha cells and the islets of Langerhans, a portion of the pancreas. And glucagon helps to regulate our sugar, our blood sugar. And then insulin is in the beta cells right next door, and it is responsible for pushing that sugar into the cells where it needs to live. Because sugar can't just stay in the bloodstream and be there without causing harm to the body. If it stays in the bloodstream, it wreaks havoc on every part of the bloodstream. Over time, it will create poisons. It'll create buildup of those poisons from the sugar. The insulin will keep trying to produce more and more because it thinks that, that's what it needs. So you have the insulin producing to shove the sugar into the cells. However, that too is wreaking havoc on the inner lining of the veins and arteries. So insulin works by opening up the cells through a key. And Jason Gutman just had an excellent post on this today. He copied something from the CDC, and I advise y'all to go over and check that out. There's such a wealth of resources here on LinkedIn, people who are bringing the best knowledge, and I learn from them every single day. And I just want to thank you all so much for traveling along with me. Bye-bye.